Greetings, I am Lies.
And I am Scandal.
And let's play a game.
Let's drink this game together.
Let's drink a cocktail together.
Wait, no,
All right,
actually in this particular scenario, so we haven't really talked about it much, but we were kind of discussing going like, this seems like a really long intro to this game.
Oh, yeah.
We haven't even really met one of the guys, because, okay, as much as I think, like, Kayla would be fun to date, I really think that most of this game is, like, heterosexuality is the only thing that exists in this universe.
We think it's a girl that's supposed to be dating one of 4 potential guys based on the pitch and the pictures. And that's all we know about it, because we didn't research it other than that. Because blindness is good.
Yes, so I'm like, I
say taking this long with a person that probably I don't know, maybe he's going to be a part of the plot later on, but not dateable.
Maybe?
I don't know. I liked it, though, in like, My Mystic Dragons, where they actually illustrated the people that were going to be, like, recurring for the most part.
Right.
Or, like, your friend Corey, that kind of thing.
It was actually really friendly.
They had shadows, but they had more illustrated figures, you know?
Right.
Anyway, so...
Aren't you going to drink it?
Aren't you going to drink it?
Oh, no, premium choice!
Oh my god. Alright, some choices cost rubies. These can let you access exclusive
and
scenes.
Improve your relationship.
Oh, it actually affects your relationship?
Did it say that, though, in the other ones that we played?
I don't know.
Don't drink it.
I don't want to drink it because...
No.
Like, the premium choice makes no sense to me. Like, I have no connection to this. Now, you are the character, but...
Well, the thing is I think for Byrne going this far, like, there's a level of, like, social pressure and whatever else, but I feel like Byrne has been slowly building up to basically saying no.
Okay, because I feel like, she's been more hesitant in her dialogue, the stuff they've written in.
Right.
Of going, stuttering more, feeling more uncomfortable.
Yeah, like, so, character-wise for me... Don't drink it seems the most applicable here.
Yeah, I can see that.
Like, this is incredibly awkward. And again, this is not to say that teenagers shouldn't drink or that teenagers don't drink.
Right.
But it's one of those things that I feel particularly, like, character-wise, for this particular person, they just wouldn't do it. Okay. Also, though, for a lot of times for me, so I would want to say that if you ever end up in a situation like this, I am really sorry. I know how much pressure it really is to be under. Like, this is awkward for a reason. And that's okay. Like, this is strange. You do not know who this person is. Yep. You do not know what their intentions are, because you still can't say, even as much as we can infer, or basically guess at. We don't know. Maybe the guy will get us drunk and then he'll throw us in the pool.
Yeah,
you have no idea.
Oh,
I drag you to a room. Yeah, you don't know who else might be in that room, because there's always that running risk. Like, that sounds terrible, but there are lots and lots of options, and that's the one thing that I'm just like...
Like, it could be completely harmless, or be like, loosen you up, and then I'm going to show you there's a giant-ass closet here, and we are going to do makeovers for everybody.
Right?
Kind of thing. Like we're going to make a Rocky Horror Picture Show on the poolside, you know? Like, who knows? But what it implies with the very little information we have is, essentially, I've had my eye on you. You are invited here because of me. I've been watching you for a long time. There's a little bit of, like, stalker, sort of predatory behavior here.
Right.
Based on the text so far. And then her going less and less into it. Like, I'm super excited about this, and then I'm getting quieter and quieter. And then more stuttering and stuff like that. So I would tend to say, don't drink it. What I imagine,
that's incredibly ballsy, though. Like, to be honest.
Now, the don't drink it, I don't think is the only choice, in my opinion, where you'd have to be like, I need to disengage with the situation.
Right.
Because it's not just, I'm going to stand here in the bedroom and stay here with you, in reference to don't drink it. Right. You would need to then do something else. But my guess is, since it's premium to drink it, and he is not a love interest, that is basically going to introduce you to one of the love interests. Right. That would be my guess. But since she wouldn't do it, don't drink it. Right?
Yeah, there's also that thing, though, too. So the reason I say, like, ballsy in that sense is because, again, like I said, for a lot of people, particularly if you're woman identified at all, as far as whenever I was raised, even for my friend Lies, there's a lot of pressure basically to be submissive, or basically be available
to men.
Yes.
And also, like, she had been feeling, like, we have established that Byrne seems very much like she's trying to follow the crowd, trying to look to other people for her guidance and her direction.
Right.
But again, her good friend is just like, I'm going to drink it and leave. Get out of this private situation.
Right. It's like trying to run away, basically. Because in a crowd, weirdly enough, even though they've talked about sometimes where some people...
You're much often more safe.
Yes, much often much more safe.
Yes. All right,
so like, whoa, don't drink it.
I
don't think I'm going to drink it. I study his face, hoping I didn't offend him.
Next to this giant 4-poster bed.
I hope you didn't get... Wow, I have to say it out loud. Wow, that is like serious nervousness. I hope you didn't get offended.
Well, I am.
I'm sorry.
Dance with me. He just commands you here in the bedroom by yourselves.
Right.
A quiet room, too. There's no noise.
I know. All we have is weird music in the background. What?
dance with me outside if you really feel
I
sorry.
love
Okay,
that bargaining
outside.
thing. Yeah, I'm like,
Make it up to me. You have to.
honestly though, that has also been, again, abusive partner situations. Stuff like that happens
It is
a lot.
less creepy to have him say outside than I'm gonna make you dance with me here in the bedroom.
Oh yeah, because
Yeah,
guess
so-
what? It could still go real bad.
That could be super weird. I would say I don't like anyone that isn't that you aren't close to, like demanding that you make something up to him. Like if you're close to someone, it can be playful, it can be friendly, it can be something you're familiar with, being like, oh, you're gonna have to make this up to me, kind of thing, or like, all right, now you owe me a dance. But that's something very familiar that isn't necessarily manipulative. Now you can have manipulative behaviors in that way of going, you do actually owe me something, and that I am not a fan of.
Well, I was gonna say though that the big thing is I feel like that's kind of a misrepresentation of what I understand of the statistics of domestic abuse, or just abuse in general.
Abuse. I'm going. It doesn't have to be abusive to say you owe me something.
Right. No, I get that.
Playful.
But I'm saying like
Yes.
it can be more. So what I'm talking about basically is that more often they talk about that more people who are actually injured or hurt or assaulted in whatever way, it tends to be done by somebody you know.
Really close to you.
It really,
usually,
like,
actually.
so that, again, that thing of going, like, whereas, like, my friend, to me, what that sounds like is basically being like, oh, no, I don't like it when it's, somebody you don't know. And I'm like, in a lot of cases, there's actually a lot of people who do that because they know you.
Okay,
they
so
go,
I
I feel like I have some level of entitlement.
I guess I
to
didn't
you.
put that well.
Okay.
Going, if it is going to be friendly and not manipulative, it has to be someone close to you, so you have that rapport.
Right.
It
you have
can
nothing
be
to fall back
abusive, no matter how well they know you, to absolute stranger, to your most intimate partner or parent or whatever person close to you. Right. I was gonna say, but if it is going to be playful or non like demanding, you cannot do that in a casual situation. You can't just be like, you're a total stranger. Okay, so dance with me instead.
Right. I mean, I have
because
seen...
the obligation is too awkward. You don't know what the expectation actually is.
I've run into some people who really do. They go, well, we're not gonna do this thing. We should do this thing. I'm like, I really don't know you, and I don't know
what will happen if I say no again.
Right.
It wasn't good when I said no the first time because you then said, okay, then you owe me something else.
Right.
And so all
right.
If you really feel sorry.
I can't help but blush at his sudden invitation.
That was a
Why
demand.
am I blushing?
That was not an invitation.
That was... Okay, so this has been an issue we've had in regards to writing all around. When a character says they invite you, they need to actually freaking invite you. An invitation is a question. Is a thing where you have the option to say no.
So there are several games, including infamously the Arcana, where we get an invitation, but it isn't an invitation because the game then treats it. It never explains that it is a demand or a statement or a requirement. It just treats it as though it is. Yes. I invite you to do this thing, and then the rest of the experience is as though you were mandated to do this thing.
Yep, and it's very frustrating.
And I'm like, that is not an invitation. And unless you give context of this person is imperious, this person never hits no for an answer, and they go, I invite you. And the subtext is there of you cannot say no. Like you have to write that in as well.
You really actually have to do, because especially if you're going that your character is a character, your character's going to go, oh God, since I know who this person is, I cannot say no.
Or when they ask a question, it's actually a demand.
Why they talk about actually unhealthy power dynamics, or basically that power dynamics exist at all. Like sometimes when people go, well, I can't say no to my boss because my boss is my boss.
Right.
Oh my God.
Or I can't say no to my landlord because I could lose my place of living. And it's unacceptable.
Right, exactly. He takes me by the hand as we go outside. At least we're back outside.
And the drinks are still in his other hand.
Right. We dance together and have fun with the others.
Okay, I'm just imagining him. He makes these two cocktails. He's got them both in one hand again, like the stems between his different fingers. And then he takes you up to the bedroom, off to the bedroom and holding them, going, aren't you going to drink one of these? And then he's like, all right, then dance with me. Takes you by the hand. Out there dancing, still holding the two cocktails.
Honestly, what makes me laugh is also that he hasn't had his drink either.
I know.
But again, to me, that's like a clear, like,
level of aggressive predatory.
Yes, like, whoa.
Like that does, if he doesn't drink his, which he didn't on in the text, then it's not, I'm joining you, let's do this together. It's, I want to do this to you.
Yeah, pretty much.
Or have you do this for me. But I think it's hilarious, him dancing there, one hand still holding and slashing cocktails.
No, like, why would I
do? The other one dancing with you. All right, so we have fun. All right.
I'm thirsty. I'm just gonna go grab that pink fizzy drink on the table.
That I don't know where it came from, and I don't know who it belongs to, and I don't know what it is.
Again, this is one of the things that we've actually talked about in reference to stuff like this, is going like, Byrne seems wildly uneducated, which is weird.
like
Question
super
mark?
naive.
Either that or, again, extremely entitled to her experience, which would be very interesting. Of going like, I deserve to just have a drink whenever I want it.
Which can be a kind of naivety of, if I identify that I'm being shy, I don't want to go and do this. So again, I'm not going to. My friend can go get drinks for me. But if I just go, I'm thirsty, I should just get a drink. Then you're not thinking about a social experience of I'm shy or I'm uncomfortable or not.
Right.
You're just going, I'm thirsty, I will drink.
Right.
So yes.
Oh, just gonna go grab it. It's fine.
All right.
Ah, excuse me while I yawn today. This fizzy drink tastes funny.
Also going, just so weird that you're just like, I am uncomfortable. I'll just grab that drink. Like, does anybody, like everybody going, that was my damn, like somebody going, that was my damn drink. Really? Excuse me? Somebody else going, why was even that sitting there?
I know people talk about it in relation to going out to parties, of going like, hey, don't grab drinks. Hey, bring your own drinks from the outside.
Hey, label
like,
your drinks, hold on to your drinks.
Much
just
that
get a
happens.
drink.
Like, what bugs me the most, I think, though, is that we have basically a culture like that because we as human beings seem to really, like, or at least basically socially, because I don't think human beings on their own naturally want to do any of this crap at all. Like, but I'm just like, I think there's basically a behavioral thing that we're not addressing.
Yes.
Because, like, this reminds me of all the things about where people are like, here's your stranger danger, here's the things you don't want to do if you're going out. Like, even they talk about being an adult, they talk about going to parties and avoiding
and being
shit.
careful.
Like,
I was going to say,
extensively. Like, God, I remember when I moved out of my house and there was somebody that I ended up living with for a while, and, like, we got, like, I got from them, like, this huge whole list of bullshit of, like, I don't mean, like, bullshit, like, it's stupid, but, like, just a whole wild list of, like, things to avoid, the things to, like, whatever, and I was just like,
so I was going to say,
but also for me, I'd come from a Mormon background, and my parents didn't really have those discussions, though I did know that they existed, and actually I heard a lot about them from, like, school scenarios or from, like, teachers. Like, I think we actually had, like, a couple of classes or stuff like that, where they would just be, like, individual, just, like, sections.
See, it's funny, because, like, I don't remember having, like...
You were homeschooled.
I know, but I don't remember even with my parents, either of them, having a lot of education of what to do to keep yourself safe.
My parents never did
a party.
You just don't go.
No, not even that. That wasn't even a discussion. It wasn't you don't go. It wasn't you do go. It wasn't parties at all. There was zero party discussion, period, other than you bring a gift and you say thank you if you receive one. You send a handwritten thank you note.
The thing that my friend has a lot of anxiety about.
I hate these. All right, so anyway, I was going to say, there's this experience of going... God, I even lost my train of thought.
That's okay. About parties and going out to drink and parents and discussions.
I was just going to say, like, of going, like, if she's been sheltered by her dad and he's been making all of her decisions for her,
right,
she would just have no context for any of this.
Yes.
Like, I've never gone to a birthday party unless essentially my dad drives me up and drops me off.
Right.
And it's one of those pink bows and frilly things, and you've hired the professional entertainers in the giant backyard at your, mansion estate, and everybody, gets a $500 grab bag party gift kind of thing.
Mansion I've ever seen in my life.
So I was like, that does not
That's a hotel.
Like a mansion. It looks like a hotel.
Like solidly.
Anyway, like solidly a hotel. So I was going to say, basically this experience of going, she's like, doesn't think about it because he's never prepared her because he assumes she will never go.
Right.
Like, he's never prepared her because it's that thing of it hasn't come up yet. It's not been important yet.
Which again,
I'll tell you when you're older. I'll get there eventually. You put it off. So there was this thing that I read at one point when I was doing my journey of going, why was my childhood so hard? And I'd like to understand things better. And going, also, why have so many of my friends had such a hard time? And all of us talking about our parents were terrible and adults were really hard. And oh my God, it was frustrating. And going, okay. So I decided to read, like, I majored in psychology. I didn't finish, but I went to college for psychology for a while.
Right.
And one of the things was I started reading a lot of supplementary books and things and just taking every psych class that I could with no focus because I was trying to understand me and understand people around me who were hurting, right?
Right.
And then there was this experience of going, when you started reading like researched parenting books and like child rearing books, like the science of raising people, that kind of thing, like childhood and development studies, okay?
Which sounds terrible to say, but I'm going to insert this. It's actually fairly new.
Okay,
like
that's fine.
Like new, because I remember like my dad even talking about it, going in, like, he's like, yeah, like child development stuff was actually really recent. Anyway, like, not as recent as some things, obviously, but like child development stuff, like there was the belief, he's like, when I was a kid, my parents would just be like, kids are just a disaster, and that's all children are.
So child developmental studies, and a lot of it helps me understand basically what my experience was,
right,
and what my friends' experiences were, and then to basically gain from that a better understanding of why I was the way I was. So sometimes when you're online and you're running into these really thoughtful, like, like either blog posts or just shares and things of going, hey, here's some things, that you might experience. You might be, emotionally neglected. You might have this particular psychological experience, and they sort of break down the basics of what it is, that you can find those things in yourself and then know how to sort of help yourself if you study developmental studies.
Right.
Because you can see how you developed. All right, so you have so much fun with Jonathan. And your friend, Kayla, is just trash. You never see her again.
The rest of the night I have so much fun with Jonathan.
Okay.
I don't know where my friend is.
Hang on. How did we end up back in the bedroom?
Wait, what?
Are
we going to end up being here anyway?
Burn.
Hmm?
Stay with me tonight in someone else's house in this bed. It'd be super fun.
Weren't you just being really mean to me?
No, that was hours ago. We've danced and had fun since then. You haven't seen your friend or anyone you know. It's been a whirlwind of music from the best DJ in the world. But come on, I dragged you back into the bedroom without you even noticing. And I say the bedroom, it's one of the many bedrooms.
They all identically have the same wrinkles. God, can you imagine, you have your staff walking around and going, okay, so what do we got? Everybody's got to have the 45-degree angle.
And crinkling, everything exactly the same. So you walk into every bed and it's this weird, exact mirror image of everything else, and you're going, they all look the same. I'm in a nightmare. Horror of wrongness. The beds are rumpled exactly the same. All right, stay with me tonight. And we do.
Do we?
We did not get to choose. We did not get to choose. It also didn't tell us that we, one, got actually drunk, as opposed to, I took a taste of this drink and it tasted funny. So this game gives you very little autonomy, it appears. I wonder what the freaking premium scene even was then.
Fascinating.
All right, your head's killing you.
What?
All right,
my head is killing me. Where am I?
So I feel like from the perspective of someone playing this game, from a reader, where you're telling them that this game has choices, you're given some amount of autonomy, right? Or the suggestion is that you'll be given autonomy, right? Then setting it up from here and giving backstory would be better, because this feels very much like a betrayal. If we are not telling us who the character is anymore, you're showing us that these are the choices we're making now. So as far as the convention of these games go, and from the ones that I've played now, what this is basically a misuse of the convention of bringing your reader in and not creating basically a trusting relationship with them. Because if we're going to show up in the middle of someone's life, she's 18 years old, I say middle roughly, right? And the thing is, and you give this background of clearly you have a dad, clearly you have an aunt, clearly you live in a house, clearly you have a friend. Those things all already exist. And then from that point, you are assumed to be brought in on making choices. You are able to then choose things. And when you're going to take something that could be considered a large choice, cultural context, as far as I know, having sex or spending the night with someone is usually a big deal in most places I have ever been to. Additionally, with what she's been set up with as far as being sheltered, being naive, not having ever done any of this before as far as we can tell, and usually her dad controlling or guiding her life, directing it, if you will. But this feels, again, very much like a writing betrayal.
I'm also going to say,
you'll get to choose, but you won't.
For me, at least in regards to playing a lot of these games, what I've noticed is that what they want to tell, so it's weird, where I'm way more okay with playing a bigger game that's going to be you're going to literally just walk through a narrative, and then you're going to do other things. What I feel like, though, these is basically that idea, almost without, though, all those other things that you also get to do. But the thing, what I also feel like, is that you get to know the characters a lot better in the bigger games. So what I'm talking about is games where you're playing this game that has a really strong narrative, of even when you're playing a Rayman, or you're playing a Final Fantasy game, or you're playing any of those games.
So it's pretty linear, but it still has some choices.
You still get to, you have some choice, but honestly, the story's going to go the same way it's going to go anyway. You're going to go run off in a corner and go breed chocobos for the next 300 hours. And the meteor still won't hit the planet, basically.
Until you're done and you move the plot forward.
There's no continuation of the plot, and the characters remain exactly the same. You can't actually really affect them, other than basically the date maybe that Cloud gets to go on with which character, and that's only
and that
very mildly.
doesn't affect your ending or how you
And
move
that's
forward.
also just specifically that game. What interests me, though, is I'm would I actually really enjoy then basically games that are exclusively more or less just like a choose your own adventure, except what I feel like in regards to, so what I'm talking about for choose your own adventure is Does anybody in the audience actually have any exposure or any experience at all, other than us, with a choose-your-own-adventure book?
So
that used to be a huge
brand of book, and they
Right.
say choose your own adventure on the side. That's a specific logo.
Right.
And what they are is they are books that you run into choices, and they're literally go to this page for this choice, go to this page for this choice.
Right.
And it's a book that's written in a non-linear fashion. They warn you at the beginning: do not read this book cover to cover. Follow the instructions inside the book.
Right.
And so you read your first like 4 or 5 pages that are set up.
Right.
And then you get to make your first choice, and then you choose where to turn from there, and then you go choices, and they usually have like 15 to 20 different endings. Some of them end in death, some of them end in like total genre changes for the page or whatever.
Right.
Some of them are good endings, fun ending, interesting endings.
Some of them are just joke endings or silly or whatever the heck.
But anyway, these games feel like they're trying to model that kind of experience, except for in a specific linear, you're going to date one of these people kind of way,
right?
Rather than we're just telling a story. But what I wanted to address really quick, and I know we're getting a tiny bit long on time on this episode.
That's okay.
Is an experience of going, how would I fix this? If you wanted to show up in the story, in this narrative, and you wanted to
you just
have
want
the
to start
character,
here.
and you did start where we started, and you didn't want it to feel like it did for me, like a sort of betrayal of choice, like you don't get to choose.
We've had that
What you
several
could
times
have
in these
instead
games,
is have an experience of, I want you to go through this with her, with your main character, where this happens to her. Then what you're going to need to do is basically commit to the predatory nature of this guy.
Right.
You're going to basically need to, he starts feeding me drinks. I try to say, say no. You're able to say no once, but then he coerces you into it, or someone else gives you a drink, or I'm just so thirsty, someone hands me a drink, I drink it. Get yourself into a space where you no longer have space to choose.
Be honest about what you want to happen out of this
And
game.
then-
If you have a point that you want to make, I think that's the thing that we definitely discussed before, of being like, yeah, if you're gonna write this of going like that this person ends up in the bed with the person even though they didn't want them to begin with, you've got to then write that process getting up to it, so you're basically your player doesn't feel like they have no power. It's just like a thing of going like you're watching your character and you're learning more about your character, going, okay, so this is what this is. But one of the things I think, again, that still irritates me is most of these go, you can play yourself or how you want to play. And that has flat out been a lie, I think, in every situation so far, period.
So the way I would change this, if it was me, is going, if you want her to end up here and give the people some choice, make sure it's clear that other people are pushing her into this, so you run out of the ability to either resist, say no, or have the autonomy, because you either get too drunk or you feel under too much pressure, and then you put yourself in that
People
character's
be like,
head
"That's
kind
so
of
dark."
thing,
I'm like,
where he says, spend the night with me, and I go, I'm so basically either like confused, or I'm so overwhelmed, or I just want to lay down so badly.
Right.
And then you go, whatever else happens, here's why she made this choice, or why this happened, rather than spend the night with me. Poof, it's the morning.
Honestly, though, that's the thing I think that confuses me personally the most.
Mm-hmm.
Why do they give you basically such false hope in regards to these games where you get to make a choice and you clearly don't? Like, that's the thing that's irritated me the most of playing these games, of going like, you can play this however you want, and it's like, but you literally cannot.
Bless you. And some of them don't say that. Some of them really are, this is a linear story, there are a couple of different endings kind of thing.
But so far,
most of them do not seem to. At any rate.
I don't know. Anyway, thank you for joining us, guys. If you like what we do, please feel free to like, comment, and subscribe, and feel free maybe to share our videos maybe with somebody that you think might actually have something to also say as well, or maybe just to like start a conversation or whatever it might be.
Enjoy them.
Yeah, or might have a good time with us. Yes, absolutely. Yes. Other than that, though, also if you want to support us more directly, please feel free to go check out our Ko-Fi and our Patreon. We got some links in the description down below. And I have been Scandal.
And I have been Lies.
And it was great playing with you. Bye!